Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com here with Flip Gordon. Flip, I mean, I've spoken to you several times in the past. Every time it seems like I want to say your career is exploding, but it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. How you feeling physically? How you doing mentally? I know that pro wrestling can be a grind, but things are going real good for you, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to stay busy, trying to, they say the busier you are, the less trouble you get in. So that's what I'm trying to live by. And so far, it's been working. I'm a little sore mentally. I've never been more focused or ready. I got a lot of big shows coming up still. I mean, the end of the year is near, but I'm far from done.
One of those big shows is Final Battle, and that always is a big show for Ring of Honor. You're facing Bully Ray, and this has been a long time coming. We've seen a lot of different personalities integrated into this, and it's sort of, I don't know if it's culminating at Final Battle, but it seems like it is. How are you preparing yourself mentally and physically for that?
Well, I mean, the title of the pay-per-view is Final Battle. Me and Bully are
Yeah.
going to battle in an I Quit match, where in order to win the match, you have to beat your opponent so badly that they say I quit. So if you ask me, this will be the final battle between Flip Gordon and Bully Ray.
So one of these battles that we saw between you and Bully Ray featured you two picking a wrestler of your choosing to compete against one another, and the winner got to basically beat the hell out of the other guy for 5 minutes. Your choice was the Sandman. Can you explain to me when you found out that the Sandman was going to be integrated into the storyline with yourself and Bully Ray?
Well, I mean, I got to pick my own partner, and I wanted to give back to with what the story we were telling, and I figured what better way than an ECW original. I mean, I knew the TV tapings were going to be in the ECW arena, the 23-100 arena, so I figured I have to pick somebody who I know that not only is Bully not thinking I'm going to pick, but somebody that the fans also didn't think I was going to pick. And my pick didn't win, but if you ask me, I would pick the same person each and every time.
It was kind of almost eerie, the similarities and the parallels, considering the person who was in the match in the Sandman, because afterwards Bully Ray beat you down for several minutes, and this was very similar to the Sandman, kind of caning Tommy Dreamer. You had one guy trying to get respect from another one. How did you feel as you were taking those shots, and then the Ring of Honor roster kind of came out there to support you, look after you, maybe a little bit of both? How did that feel?
It was very special to see all the guys coming down. I mean, I didn't expect any of that to happen, especially a guy named like Cody. He came down and he just coached me through it. He said, "You got this. You can keep going." And when I started seeing everybody come down, I mean, those shots were brutal. About 3 or 4, I didn't know if I could take any more. And then I started seeing all these people coming down who were supporting what I was standing up for and what I was standing up to, and that is a bully.
Do you think that Cody asked him to throw in an extra shot because you ruined his Chipotle?
I didn't see that. That story was misinterpreted. I did not ruin Cody's Chipotle. The local guy in Pittsburgh ruined the Chipotle. That was not on me.
So, so I mean, no responsibility there. But yeah, I was going to ask you about what Cody had said, and obviously they have a lot of things going on, which I'm sure we'll talk about at a different time. But this seems like it's priming you for a big role in Ring of Honor, and you've already had a pretty big role in Ring of Honor. But there are some people whose contracts are coming up. What does that mean for you as a young talent who still does have some time on his contract, well publicized?
It means exactly what it's meant the last 3 years. I came into professional wrestling at the exact right time because throughout my career, I have gotten opportunities because other people left for other opportunities. It's a very, very awesome cycle because if people decide to leave, there's positions open higher up on the card, which that should be everybody's goal. Your goal should not just be, hey, I want a roster spot. Your goal should be, hey, I want to be the top guy of this company. And so if guys are leaving, then that opens up opportunities. If they don't leave, then guess what? That makes my job even harder because that means I got to work even harder to take those spots from those guys, whether they're my friends or not.
Speaking of spots, that might open up some spots in New Japan as well. They have a great working relationship with Ring of Honor. You've worked there a little bit. Could you see yourself taking on a more advanced role in New Japan as well?
I would absolutely love that. I mean, I got a little taste of it this year in Best of Super Juniors. And I hope I get more opportunities there in New Japan, because during those 3 weeks, I learned so much. And I felt like from my first match to my last match, if you just watched the Best of Super Juniors, you can see how much I improved in ring just during those 3 weeks.
What are some of the pros and cons about how wrestling has changed your life? Because, I mean, obviously you've taken the wrestling world by storm, and that has to be quite an adjustment from just not being in the world of pro wrestling.
Pros, I'm living my dream. I'm 26 years old. I've been doing this 3.5 years. I've been lucky enough to travel the world. 11 different countries, I think, a couple different continents. It's insane. If you would have told me 3 years ago I'd done this much already, I would have told you were lying. Some of the cons, I'm literally never home. I'm gone all the time. I come home to repack my suitcase. I live out of suitcases half the time. I mean, you hear it of all the successful entertainers in the world. You miss birthdays, anniversaries, you name it. So those are some of the cons. But, I mean, you never know how long this is going to last. I don't know how hot I'm going to be. And so I got to take full advantage of it.
Also, I was curious, like you spent time in the Army National Guard. How did that prep you for life and pro wrestling?
It prepped me mentally and discipline, and also the travel and being away from my family and my friends. Because in the Army, I had to do that too. I went to basic training. I was gone from my family a lot, and so that kind of prepared me. And then also just the discipline when it comes into travel, organization, even just working out, and then so much. If it wasn't for the Army, I guarantee you I wouldn't be where I am today in professional wrestling.
I was also curious as to some of your influences in wrestling, perhaps once you've got into it. I know that you trained under Brian Fury, and you've spent a lot of time in multiple promotions, but who have been some of the primary influences for you once you've gotten in the business that have helped guide you?
One of the guys, which you wouldn't think, would actually be Cody. When he first left WWE, came to the Indies, and he was one of the guys that really looked after me, so to speak. And whenever I had questions, he was the guy I would go to, and he'd give me honest answers. Other guys in the locker room used to be Bully until this whole ordeal started going down. Because I looked at him as he's a WWE Hall of Famer. He's seen everything. He's been wrestling probably longer than I've been alive. So he used to be my go-to in the locker room. Obviously, I go to the Bucks a lot. Marty has also been a guy that's always there. If I have a question, he's just a text away.
I think that's something that we had mentioned last time, how funny it is, because I mean, I'm just 33 myself, but I remember when Cody started, and we're about the same age, and he was a very young guy in WWE. That was just like a decade ago. Now he's, not even in his prime yet, and there are people like you that are like, yeah, he's wrestled probably as long as I've been alive, which is wild.
It's weird because when you do the math, Cody's only 5 years older than me on paper.
I think he's like 6 or 7. He's 33.
That's really not that big of a margin. But come to professional wrestling, I mean, I got a late start. He got a really early start. So there's where the difference shows, Not to mention his background and where his family comes from.
Yeah, no kidding. So we've seen these Ring of Honor, New Japan shows. Have you been told anything about next year? Obviously, there's the MSG show that we know about, but any plans for that partnership next year?
I don't know too much about it, to be honest. All I know is that I have been officially booked for Madison Square Garden. I will be there.
Ooh. No, you don't have to worry about the big show this time.
I don't know what I'm doing yet. All I know is that I have been told that I am booked for the world's most famous arena.
What does that mean to you as a wrestler?
I think that's every wrestler's dream is to perform Madison Square Garden. No matter what company it's for. I think if just as a kid growing up, that is literally not even just the world's most famous arena. That is wrestling's most famous arena. I mean, look at all the bouts, like the championships that have changed hands there. Just to walk foot in that, I've never set foot in that building. So the first time I step foot in that building will be for Ring of Honor and New Japan G1 Supercard. The first time I step foot in that building will be to perform, which I think is pretty cool.
It's pretty outstanding. Had a reader question that says, do you think a submission finisher would help preserve your body, and what submission would you use if you were to integrate one?
That's a great question. I've actually been thinking of submission lately, and right now my two submissions that I'm debating are the crossface or the STFU, because I was a huge Cena fan growing up, and I remember when he started using that, and I don't know anybody else that really uses it. He's kind of done wrestling now, so maybe I might steal it from him. But I was always a huge fan of the crossface as well.
A tried and true finisher for sure. Obviously, I can't let you go without talking about being the Elite. You were a big part of that, and your role has kind of changed, and you've been involved in a lot of things. How is it like filming that? How tightly are you scripted, and how much input do you have in the handling of how you're portrayed on that?
It's a lot of fun. It's actually probably been the highlight of my wrestling career, to be honest, because it's helped me in so many other ways of wrestling. It's gotten me comfortable speaking, and I'm really not restricted at all. A lot of it is just on the fly, a lot of improv. They give me like sort of a direction or what the story they want to get across. But for the most part, it's just a bunch of guys having fun, trying to tell a funny story for our fans online. And I think that shows through because we have so much fun with it.
How important is that to the Ring of Honor and really the independent wrestling scene? Because there were a lot of people who maybe fans couldn't connect with emotionally or mentally or anything like that, and have a real chance to now.
It's helped huge. I mean, still to this day, I go places and I have fans come up to me and be like, "Hey, I've never seen you wrestle, but I saw you on Being the Elite, so I came here tonight to see you wrestle." And like, to me, that's the coolest thing, because they like, that's what they're coming to a wrestling show, but they've never seen me wrestle. And so that just shows you how much power social media has. That a show like Being the Elite gets out to over 200,000 people every week, and they watch it so religiously that if they just throw a new guy on the show, they're now interested in knowing about this character to the point where they'll come to a wrestling show to see him for the first time.
So Ring of Honor Final Battle, December 14th. It'll be on Honor Club. It has Sumi Sakai, Madison Rayne, Karen Q, and Kelly Klein in a four-corner match. Taven and Castle, Lethal and Cody, Cobb versus Adam Page, Gresham versus Zack Sabre Jr., yourself and Bully Ray, rather.
I was say I am Flipboard.
Yeah, well, hey, you never know.
Throw me for a loop now.
We've seen Colt Cabana team with Matt Classic, and technically he is both of those people, so anything is possible. But I want to know, what are you
professional wrestling?
Yeah, what are you looking forward to on this show? There's also Ladder War and Daniels versus Skrull.
I'm looking forward to Ladder Wars because I have never seen one in person. And I know that those 6 guys are going to absolutely tear the house down.
You had your first Ring of Honor ladder match, I believe, earlier this year, correct?
Yes, but it wasn't a Ladder Wars.
Yeah, it was at Supercard of Honor, not Ladder Wars. For those who don't know, how do you differentiate the two?
Well, I mean, a ladder match is a good old classic ladder match. But for you guys that don't know what a ladder war is, you need to get on YouTube right now, because I can't spoil it for you, but it's like a car crash. Just think of a car crash.
And that wasn't your first. I know that you had a couple, I think in XWA, I believe.
I've had a few, not nearly as much as you think I would have had.
Yeah.
But I've had a few. I'd love to have more.
As I had done some research, I saw some names in one that was like Tessa Blanchard, Dijak, MJF, and yourself, and I was like, man, on paper that sounds like a blast. But Flip, I want to think.
Tessa cost me that one. That's all Tessa's fault that I lost that one, because I won't hit a girl, and she's not afraid to hit guys. So I blame her for that one.
Flip,
I'm scared of her.
I think most are.
Me and him. The only 2 chicks I'm scared of.
Flip, before we go, tell the people where they can follow you on social media.
All my social media is the same: Twitter, Instagram, @TheFlipGordon.
Ring of Honor Final Battle, December 14th. Flip, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.